My name is Chika, and this is part 2 of The Other Woman Was Me. If you listened to part 1, you remember the call that hollowed Idioma's chest, mirror on the line, the sentence about a proposal and her picture inside a phone case. That single line changed everything, and it did not arrive softly. It landed like a stone thrown into water, and the ripples would not stop. When the call ended, Idioma sat very still. The world was the same, the kettle still hissed, the street lamp still flickered outside, but everything she believed about Kin felt like a costume she had been wearing without knowing it. She thought about the mornings they had shared, the way his hand had fit into hers, the list of future things he had promised. She tried to remember if there had ever been a moment he seemed completely honest, unplayed. Her memory offered kindnesses, small, golden, and also shadows she had chosen not to look at. She did not storm to his house, no furious door-bursting moment. She did what many of us do when we are trying to protect a fragile certainty. She waited. Not because waiting is brave, but because she needed time to think, to collect, to decide what to do with the terrible evidence she now held in her chest. She called a friend who could be trusted. The friend cried with her and then helped her breathe. They made a plan, find out without being reckless, gather facts without becoming the person all the gossip would make her into. A week of watching taught her what suspicion sometimes whispers. The truth will reveal itself if you are patient enough to look for its marks. Kin's patterns were the marks. He grew defensive over small things. He began to answer his phone in other rooms. He claimed fatigue, stress, the usual arsenal. But one evening, when he left for a meeting and said he would be back by 9, his laugh felt rehearsed when he kissed her on the forehead. She stood by the window and watched the taillights until they vanished. That night, insomnia was a small virtue. It allowed her to be awake for the parts of her life that felt like strangers. Then the message came. It was not from Mira at first. It was from a woman who worked in a boutique he had patronized, an innocuous text about a shirt he had asked for. The message included a photo because sometimes liars are careless. In the photo, Kin's face smiled, but behind him, a bag sat open and inside it, there was a small paper, a receipt for a ring. The detail was small, but to someone looking for proof, small things scream. Idioma confronted him the way she had been taught, with quiet. She said, "Who is Mira?" She put the phone on the kitchen table, the glow of the screen painting his face in a thin blue light. He looked at the photo, at the phone, and then at her. He had a look that had once been tender and now felt practiced. He chose a slow, even voice. "She's someone I work with," he said. "She's a friend." He told her the words that men use when the truth is heavier than an explanation. "Idioma, you are making this bigger than it is." The word "making" is a trap. It puts the burden of meaning on the person who caught the lie. Yet Idioma was not making anything up. She continued to follow details the way someone threads a needle, small, precise, necessary. She called Mira back on the line that had once destroyed her sleep. Mira did not want to meet at first. She said she wasn't cruel. She said she had not intended to break anyone. She spoke like someone who believed there were explanations that could be gentle. But then she asked for a meeting, and the meeting was one of those moments when two women discover they have been divided by a man and must decide whether they will allow themselves to become enemies. They met at a cafe with soft lights and chairs that creaked the way rarely used truths do. Both of them arrived with different armor. Myra's armor was composed of polished words, an unruffled voice, and the kind of confidence that can look like cruelty in the wrong hands. Idioma's armor was the opposite. It was thin but honest, the rawness of someone who had been called to choose. Mira looked at her and said, "I didn't know." But not all denials are equal. Some are honest, some are rehearsed. Mira produced a photo Kin had sent her the week before, a picture of a small, private palm tree, sunlight falling across a face that looked a little tired, and at the edge of the image, a small folded scrap of paper tucked into the phone case. Mira lifted it like proof. She said, "When he proposed, I looked for a photo and I found this, your face." I thought it was strange, but I didn't ask.